Hi, my name is Yin Gao and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been translating and teaching classical Chinese philosophy for many years and classical Chinese poetry for the last few years. So I would love to share my knowledge on this subject with you. Your enjoyment is my command. In my last video about Cen Shen, I talked about his early career at the frontier. I also translated two of his poems from the frontier. Even though he started as a low-rank military staff for General Bo Xian, his first-hand experience of war gave him unique insights about the battles, the battlefield, and the lives of the generals and soldiers at the frontier. The two poems I translated celebrated the courage, perseverance, and high spirit among the generals and soldiers. However, this tone changed substantially later when he got to know more about lives at the frontier. So today, I'm going to talk a bit more about the historical context when the great general Feng Changqing was fighting at the western frontier, especially the lives of this great general. I'm also going to translate a set of 6 poems by Cen Shen to show you what the war was like at the frontier. In my next video, I'm going to talk a bit more about Cen Shen's life and the historical context when he left the frontier at 756. I'm also going to make a bit of detour to talk about the lives of the great Tang generals Feng Changqing and Bo Xian. The two great generals Feng Changqing and Bo Xian were important historical figures because their tragic deaths were the beginning of the ending of the great Tang dynasty. I'm also going to translate 1 poem by Du Fu and 3 poems by Cen Shen composed to mourn the death of the two great generals and the loss of hopes for both himself and his country, which was destroyed by the Untitled rebellion. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the contents of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read the original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. In 754 AD, Cen Shen was appointed as the chief military staff with the general Feng Changqing, who was a legendary war hero of the Tang dynasty. Now, let me tell you a bit more about the life of General Feng Changqing. According to Xin Tang Shu, or the New History of Tang, Feng Changqing was from a rather humble background. His parents died when he was very young and he was raised by his grandfather. When his grandfather was put on exile to the northwest frontier and joined the army there, Feng Changqing went with his grandfather and grew up at the frontier. His grandfather also taught him to read and write, and taught him quite well, as we will see in a minute. We don't know much about Feng Changqing's grandfather except the facts mentioned above. But I guess he might be a scholar official who was exiled to the frontier for some reason. Given the volatile court politics I talked about in my first video on Cen Shen, this is a reasonable guess. There are also other reasons that he might be a scholar official. During Imperial China, there were only 3 classes of people who were literate: the scholars and scholar officials, the clerks, and merchants. Even though the last 2 classes might be literate, they were not good at writing. Only scholars were trained for writing. So I believe Feng Changqing's grandfather must be a scholar official. When Feng Changqing was 30, he went to the Grand General Gao Xianzhi and requested to become the latter's bodyguard, but was rejected. Feng Changqing was thin, short, and with a limp leg, and the general thought he was too ugly to be his bodyguard. Feng Changqing went to see the general the next day again, but only made the general annoyed. The general said, "I have told you that all the positions are filled. Why are you still bothering me?" Feng Changqing got angry and said, "I admire your integrity and I'm willing to serve you. Why do you reject me so harshly? If you recruit staff according to principle, that would be what a scholar expected. But if you recruit staff according to their appearance, you might lose a real talent." Here Feng Changqing was citing directly from the Analyses, the book that recorded all the sayings from the great sage Confucius. Gao Xianzhi was impressed. Although he did not accept Feng Changqing as his bodyguard immediately, but allowed Feng Changqing to follow him around and running errands for him. And eventually he accepted Feng Changqing as his bodyguard. In 741 AD, Gao Xianzhi conquered a small country named Daxi at the northwest. Feng Changqing compiled a detailed report about the victory. Gao Xianzhi was very impressed by the clarity and elegance of the report, which said everything he intended to, but with style. After this event, Gao Xianzhi promoted Feng Changqing several times based on Feng Changqing's military achievements, and Feng Changqing established himself as an excellent general within a few years. By 755, Feng Changqing raised to be the governor in charge of the military and administrative affairs at the whole northern frontier. Cen Shen was invited by Feng Changqing to be his chief military staff in this year, managing all the supplies for Feng Changqing's military force, while Feng Changqing led his army to conquer a small nation called Bo Xian. Feng Changqing and his force accomplished their military expedition successfully in the winter of 754 AD, and Cen Shen composed the following set of 6 poems to celebrate this victory. Now, let me read the first 3 poems in Chinese. 汉将承恩西破荣，结束先奏未央宫。天子欲开其阁带，只尽水属二师宫。官军西出过楼兰，迎幕傍临月枯寒。蒲海小霜凝马尾，冲山夜雪铺金竿。名家叠鼓拥回军，破国平藩西未闻。丈夫却应遥边月，大将龙旗掣海云。Now, let's look at the first poem. 汉将承恩西破荣，结束先奏未央宫。天子欲开临阁带，只尽水属二师宫。Han refers to the Han Empire. Hanjiang means the Han general, but here it refers to General Feng Changqing. During Imperial China, a poet rarely directly mentioned anyone by their names in a poem. They often use a historical figure or a generic name from another dynasty to refer the person they intended to, just in case they get in trouble for various reasons. Cheng means receive, and literally means favor or benevolence. Since anything came from the emperor should be regarded as a favor or benevolent, including military orders, so we translate the term as imperial order. Xi means west, Po means destroy, Rong was the debasing name for the non-Chinese people, so we translate it as barbarian. Jie means victory. Shu means report. Xian means first. Zhou means present. Weiyang was the name of a palace during the Han Dynasty. Gong means palace. Tian means heaven. Zi means sun. Tianzi refers to the emperor. Yu means in advance. Kai means open. Qi is an abbreviation of Qilin, a mythical creature symbolizes good fortune for a dynasty. So we translated it as unicorn because it supposedly had one horn on its head in ancient China. But later its horns number increased up to 5 in some regions. Ge means hall. Qilin was a tower built during the Han Dynasty where the portraits of national heroes were displayed to honor them. Dai means to wait. Zhi means but. Jin means today. Shui means who. Shu means reprise. 二师 was the title of the Han general named Li Guangli, who conquered a city named Ershi in today's Kyrgyzstan, hence was awarded the title of Ershi. Gong means achievement. So the 4 lines read, the Han general received an imperial order to destroy the Western barbarians. The victory report is first presented to the Weiyang Palace. The Son of Heaven opens up in advance the Unicorn Hall, but today he won't need to reprise the Han general's achievements. Now let's look at the second poem. 官军西出过楼兰，荧幕傍临月枯寒。蒲海小霜凝马尾，冲山夜雪铺金竿。官军 refers to the imperial army. Xi means west. Chu means set off. Guo means pass. Lowland means Krorina. Lowland was an ancient country located in today's Xinjiang or New Territory. The last record of the country is from the Tang Dynasty monk Xuanzang, who recorded it when he passed the country on his way to India around 630 AD. There was no record of the country after that. It had disappeared since then. The ruins of Lowland was discovered in the 1900s by a Swedish geologist and photographer Sven Hedden, and he excavated the site in the following year. Many ancient documents were discovered, and we find that the lowland's real name was Krorina, but was recorded as lowland in Chinese documents. So we translated it as Krorina. Ying means camp. Mu means tent. Bang means along. Lin means over. Yue Ku literally means moon cave. According to Chinese mythology, Yue Ku is the place the moon stays during the daytime in the far west. Here it refers to the western frontier. Han means cold. Puhai refers to the Lopno Lake located in the eastern fringe of the Tarim Basin. Xiao means dawn. Shuang means frost. Ning means freeze. Ma means horse. Wei means tail. Chong means onion. Shan means mountain. Chongshan or Onion Mountain refers to a range of mountains including Pamirs, Kunlun, and Tian mountains, known for producing a lot of onions. Ye means night. Xue means snow. Pu means pounce. Jing means flag. Gan means pole. So the 4 lines read, the imperial army goes out west to Krorina. They pitch camps alongside and over the moon cave. At Lopno Lake in the morning, the horses' tails are frozen. On Mount Onion at night, snow pounces on the flagpole. 名家叠骨拥回军，破国平藩昔未闻。丈夫却因遥边月，大将龙旗掣海云。鸣 literally means bird calls. 家 refers to reed pipe, but here it refers to the sound of reed pipe, so we translate the term as the cry of flute. 叠 means folding something up, but can also mean doing something repeatedly. And 鼓 refers to drum, so we translate 叠鼓 as beating the drum. 拥 means accompany, 回 means return, 军 means army, 破 means conquer, 国 means country, 平 means surprise, 藩 refers the barbarian country, 西 means past, 未 means never, 闻 means hear. 丈夫 means husband in modern Chinese, but it means a tall or a great man in classical Chinese. Here it refers to the great general Feng Changqing. 确印 is a generic term for seals of a general, originated from a legend about a Han general named Zhang Hao, who saw a magpie dropped on the ground and disappeared. After digging the spot, he got a gold seal with his name on it. So 确印 became a generic term to refer to the general seal. 耀 means sake, but here it refers to the light reflected from the seal, so we translate it as a sign. 边 means frontier. 月 means moon. 大 means great. 将 means general. 龙 means dragon. 旗 means banner. 掣 means drag down. 海 refers to lake. 云 means cloud. So the 4 lines read, the cry of flutes and the beating of drums accompanied the returning army. Their victories conquering the barbarian countries have never been heard before. The great general sail signs under the moonlight of the frontier. His dragon banner drags down clouds to the lake. According to some Chinese historians, this set of poems follow the format of military report for victories. That is, the poem starts with the claim of victory and how well the news was received by the emperor, that he was so excited that he was ready to reward the general with the highest honor before they returned to the capital. That is, General Feng Changqing will be treated as a national hero like the great Han generals. Then the second poem recalls the long journey they took to the frontier, the bitter cold and the sandstorms and snowstorms that they endured during their military campaign. Simply by listing the names of the places they went, indicating that they had marched thousands of miles to the frontier in such harsh conditions. But the poet quickly moved to praise how extraordinary their victories are, that they had conquered many barbarian countries, and such victories had never been heard before, and how spectacular the returning forces are, with the sound effects of the cries of flutes and the beating of drums, and the visual effects of signing seals and the flying flags as high as the clouds. What a wonderful scene! However, in the following 3 poems, the poet suddenly turned to the horrifying battle scenes. Now, let me read the last 3 poems in Chinese first. 日落辕门角鼓鸣，千群面赴出藩城。喜兵于海云迎阵，秣马龙堆月照营。藩军遥见汉家营，满谷连山遍哭声。万箭千刀一夜杀，平民流血尽空城。沐雨旌旗湿未干，胡言百草日光寒。 昨夜将军连小战，番军只见马空鞍。Now, let's look at the fourth poem. 日落辕门角鼓鸣，千群面赴出藩城。喜并鱼海云迎阵，秣马龙堆月照营。日 means sun, 落 means set. 辕门 refers to the outer gates of a military camp. 鼓 means drum. 角 means horn. 鸣 means sound. 千 means thousand. 群 means crowd. 面 means face. 赴 means bound. 面赴 means to be bounded with arm behind the back. 出 means to be led out of. 藩 means barbarian. 城 means city. 藩城 refers to the barbarian city, but here it refers to the conquered city. 洗 means wash. 兵 means weapon. 鱼 means fish. 海 means lake. 鱼海 refers to a lake located in today's Inner Mongolia. Yun is an abbreviation of Huangyun, a sign of good omen or clouds over a battlefield at the frontier. This is because most of the battles fought during the Han Dynasty were at the semi-arid land with a lot of sandstorms, so the clouds at the frontier were often yellow. This line is also a rephrasing of a couplet by the emperor of the South Liang Dynasty, Xiaogang, from the 6th century AD. So the couplet reads, 喜并逢骤雨，送阵出黄云, meaning the southern rains washes our weapons, the auspicious yellow clouds lead our military formation. Here the term of Huangyun refers to the auspicious sign of yellow clouds, symbolizing victory. Ying means led. Zhen means military formation. Me means feed. Ma means horse. Long means dragon. Dui means heap. Longdui refers to a desert located in today's Xinjiang or the New Territory. Yue means moon. Zhao means shine. Ying means camp. So the four lines read, the sun sets on the outer gates to the cries of horn and drums. Thousands of bound prisoners of war are led out of the conquered city. The auspicious clouds lead soldiers to the Face Lake to wash their weapons. They feed their horses at the Dragon Heap, and the moon shines on their camp. 番军遥见汉家营，满谷连山变哭声。万箭千刀一夜杀，平民流血尽空城。番 means barbarian, 军 means army, 遥 means distant, 见 means see. 汉家 refers to the Han Imperial Army. 营 means camp. 满 means filled up. 谷 means valley. 连 means connected. 山 means mountain. 满谷连山 means to fill up valleys and cover mountains. It is used to describe a scene where the cries of horror of those being slaughtered filled up the valley and echoes in the mountains. 变 means all over a place. 哭 means lamentation. 声 means sound. 万 means 10,000. 箭 means arrow. 千 means thousand. 刀 means swords. 一 means one. 夜 means night. 杀 means slaughter. 平民 means dawn. 流 means flow. 血 means blood. 尽 means soak. 空 means empty. 城 means city. So the four lines read, the barbarian army sees the Han camps in the distance. The sound of lamentation fills the valleys and covers the mountains. 10,000 arrows and 1,000 swords slaughter all night long. By the dawn, the flowing blood soaked the empty city. 沐雨旌旗誓未干，胡烟百草日光寒。昨夜将军连小战，番军只见马空安。暮 means dusk. 雨 means rain. 沐雨 literally means rain at dusk. But with the killing described in the last poem, it is probably referring to the rain of blood from the night before. 旌旗 means flag. 湿 means wet. 未 means won't. 干 means dry. 糊 means 混. 烟 means smoke. 白 means white. 草 means grass. 百草 refers to this species of grass only grow at the western frontier. 日 means sun. 光 means light. 寒 means cold. 昨夜 means last night. 将军 means general. 连 means continue. 小 means dawn. 战 means fight. 番 means barbarian. 军 means army. 指 means only. 见 means to be seen. 马 means horse. 空 means empty. 安 means shadow. So the 4 lines read, At dusk, the banners and flags are wet with blood and won't dry. The barbarian army is reduced to smoke and white grass in the cold, bright sunlight. Last night the general fought until dawn, and the barbarian army was only left as empty saddles on their horses. When I was explaining the character Qing in my last video, I promised I would show you what the action of Qing entails in a military action. This is what it entails. It is to slaughter not just the barbarian army, but also the whole population of their city. It is to eliminate a country except the royal family, who would be sent to the capital Chang'an as prize to the emperor. The 5th and the last poems painted the horrifying pictures of the battles of attacking the barbarian army at the valleys and mountains out of the city, as well as the slaughtering of the people in the city. The whole city was reduced to smoke and grass under the cold sunlight. I mean, the sunlight is supposed to be warm, but after a night and a day of killing, even the sunlight becomes cold, shining on the ruins of a city. Just by reading these poems, it sends chills down my spine. In most collections of Cen Shen's poetry, the last 2 poems were often left out. It might be that these poems are too horrifying for the taste of contemporary Chinese, or it might be other reasons. I would rather not get into it here, but what I would like to point out is that the conflicts between the Han Chinese and the non-Han people can be traced back to thousands of years ago, and the conflicts continued in the following centuries ever since. Well, the contents of today's video is a bit heavy. Hopefully the next video will be slightly better. In my next video, I'm going to talk a bit more about Cen Shen's life and the historical context when he left the frontier in 756. I'm going to make a bit of detour to talk about the lives and tragic death of the 2 great Tang generals, Feng Changqing and Bo Xian. They were important historical figures because their tragic deaths were the beginning of the ending of the Great Tang Dynasty. I'm also going to translate one poem by Du Fu lamenting the killings of the non-Han people at the western and northern frontier. and 3 poems composed by Cen Shen to mourn the death of the 2 great generals, and lots of hopes for himself and his country, which was destroyed by the Alushan rebellion. So if you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. Otherwise, thanks for viewing my video, and I'll see you next time.